How's it going? I want to talk about The Color Purple by Alice Walker. It's another landmark in my literary canon. If you remember the last book review about Needful Things, I said how that's the one that got me into supernatural stuff, and I wanted to read everything else ever written just like it. And I figured, what kind of a story would be a story without some kind of supernatural element? It would just be missing something. But then I had pretty much read all there was to read in the supernatural genre and was starting to wind down into something new, a different experience. And I happened upon The Color Purple by Alice Walker, read the first lines. Better never tell nobody but your mama. No, better never tell nobody but God, it'd kill your mama. Well, that's compelling. So decided to give that a try, and much like Needful Things made me want to read everything else like it, The Color Purple made me want to read everything else in the canon of classics of world literature. I think that's the canon it's in. So rather than just go into the plot, characters, mechanics, and everything that I think we can all agree work, award-winning, best-selling, still talked about 40 years later, I think the mechanics have gotten enough pats on the back. What I'm interested in is the effect that a book has on a reader. And there was this pervasive feeling that I got throughout reading The Color Purple, and that has attached itself to other examples that I relate back to The Color Purple now in retrospect. And we all know the feeling when the less qualified person gets the position. They haven't been there as long as you. They haven't had as much experience as you in that area. So why did they get the position or the promotion over you? That's not fair. That just leaves this feeling inside. This writhing, bubbling injustice. I'm sure most of us can relate to the feeling of when the cool kids, the old cool kids club ostracizes you. Maybe it's because you use all them big words and it makes them feel stupid. Or maybe it's for some other reason. Maybe they just don't like your hair. Maybe your face reminds them of someone else they don't like. Who knows? But the fact is that the Cool Kids Club doesn't want you in their club. Why? It's not like it's something that they just admit. They might say an answer, but it doesn't make any sense. And it just leaves you with this mystery that's eating away at you. Why? What's different about me that I can't fit in? I'm a human being like all of them. We're all just trying to get by and interact with each other, have a good time, do what needs to be done. Why do they all get to stay together? And why are they saying passively that you can't be with them? It really leaves you with an uneasy feeling, doesn't it? It's like the feeling when you walk into a room where everyone's talking and laughing. That goes quiet once you're in there. What were they talking about that they don't want you to hear? Why are they now afraid to laugh in your presence? Boy, that really gnaws away at you, doesn't it? I mean, you get past it if you're a socially healthy person. You fall back on the other things you have going for you, but still, you go, man, what's up with that group in there? What's up with that room? And it kind of gnaws away at you, even though you can still maintain some semblance of a normal life. It does gnaw. I mean, you can even inquire about it, and they just play it off like nothing. You know the blood boiling feeling when you're in a hurry, you have to go, and you tell your kid, okay, time to shut that down, we gotta get ready to go. And they say, okay. And they swipe, swipe. Oh, wait, I missed something. Swipe. Okay, it's time to go. We have to get going. It's kind of like that kind of sensation. Why am I being ignored? Why am I being overlooked? What's wrong with me that my presence and my needs and my contributions are not being accepted by this other individual? I'm just a human being like everyone else, so why am I being ostracized? Unfortunately, we've all had to put up with the coworker that rushes through their shift, leaving a bunch of mistakes for you to fix, so that you are the more responsible coworker, but they look better because they just bumped their numbers by rushing through a bunch of stuff, and it looks better on the record that they have a higher number than you, but you were the responsible one to the company that fixed all those mistakes, dealt with them like a responsible employee. But what does the record say? The irresponsible employee is more valuable. Well, gee, that's not fair. Why does it have to be that way? Why are people putting up with it? Why isn't it simply fixed where everything is seen equally and through one lens instead of a blurry lens or a cracked lens where one person looks better and another looks worse, despite the fact that we're all human beings? What makes you look different? I think everyone can relate to saying the funny thing in front of a bunch of people. You've come up with the clever, humorous line, and you deliver it, and somebody else just repeats it in a stupid voice, and they get the laugh. So, why does this moron get to enjoy the positive reinforcement of group laughter, and you are made to feel like the lower individual? You are the one who said something meaning to bring the joy of laughter to everybody. And this other individual was merely saying it to bring you down. And they are getting the positive reinforcement. That's not really fair. That can really eat away at you. It's a good thing you can fall back on everything else you got going for you, because that can really gnaw away at a person who doesn't. Have you ever been in a quiet room and everyone's going about their business, but they're not really saying anything? And as you leave that room, you hear a boisterous conversation start up. Were they waiting for you to leave? Why didn't they want to include you in their boisterous conversation? What's different about you? It's not fair. You really have to dig down into your own positivity to get past something like that. What else I got here? You know, I think every parent can relate to telling their small child to stop. You're hurting your smaller child. Don't hurt the baby. And the response you get from that small child who does not need to learn empathy yet at their age is, but it's fun. But you're squishing her. But it's fun. But she's screaming in pain. But it's fun. How do you argue with that kind of logic when the person you're interacting with operates by their own logic that excludes your logic? How do we overcome these social injustices? How do we go on and exist with them? Because they're going to exist everywhere you go. Any job you have, any group of people you socialize with, you're going to come across situations that put you in this feeling where you come away feeling a little uneasy. Not to say that every situation is completely uneasy. Obviously, we have better times with some than we have with others. And those are the people we fall back on when we come out of these uneasy, gnawing, writhing situations. Well, that answer is answered by The Color Purple by Alice Walker. The book, haven't seen the movie. And I don't know if I'm going to see the movie because, like we said in Needful Things, the book has the freedom, it has the spatial and horological freedom to explore the realistic solutions to the problems it brings up. Whereas you're going through, you're thinking, how in the world are they going to resolve this? Is this just going to be miserable all the way through to the end? Well, some are, unfortunately. But the good books, like The Color Purple, they have the freedom and the tools to explore the realistic solutions that were there all along. They're not easy. Like that movie, Crazy Stupid Love, that is an example of the opposite. They tried to tack on a Hollywood ending. I loved that movie until the last 15 minutes when they had to tack on the Hollywood ending where everything's happy. And the only way they can do that was by saying basically a moral of stalking is okay, which of course it's not. I don't care if we live in the social media age where everyone has a phone and everyone's allowed to just point it at someone and record, and everyone is allowed to just follow someone on social media and basically know everything that's going on in their life. I don't care if that says that doesn't mean stalking is okay. And Crazy Stupid Love took this great movie for an hour and a half and tacked on an ending that says, hey, it doesn't matter how your former significant other felt about you. It doesn't matter if they want nothing to do with you. It doesn't matter if they've already moved on with their life and have their own completely separate life away from you. As long as you still love them, it's okay to keep going after them. Through restraining orders, no restraining orders, but basically, without saying criminal activity, it's saying stalking is okay, and of course it's not. So that's what happens when you're confined to a Hollywood program. You have to wrap it up and tack on a happy ending. But The Color Purple doesn't do that. It leisurely takes its time and comes to a natural, realistic solution to all these situations that are brought to mind. None of these ones I mentioned happen in the book, but they were all brought to mind by what Celie goes through in the book. Am I saying her name right? Sorry if I'm not. But if you're looking out across the literary landscape and you see the color purple, take notice, because that's where the solution lies to all these problems. Are you fun?